I served 30 years in prison.
I'm formerly incarcerated, but guess what? I changed.
I came home when there wasn't any programs.
When I stepped out of that gate, it was such a beautiful feeling to actually breathe in fresh air.
There wasn't a lot of belief that folks like us can change.
You know, hard work pays off. You gotta keep grinding no matter what.
You know what all these folks have in common? They all face extreme barriers. That's where Pathway to Kinship comes in. We help folks with housing, education, and employment. Let's hear from a few of our successful alumni.
I'm Ted Danson.
And I'm Mary Steenburgen, the wife he was so desperately looking for. And he found, and to all of you, we want to welcome you home.
Yeah. Mary and I have been supporting Mark and Pathway to Kinship for the last 3 years. I got a call, and he described what he was starting to do, and it felt like my friend had found his bliss.
This afternoon, for some of you, this may be your first introduction to the world of re-entry, and some of you have lived this experience.
At the age of 19, I was sentenced to 28 years to life. I spent 22 years of my adult life in prison. All I knew was I didn't want to continue to live the lifestyle I knew. Then I was introduced to self-help. The only thing left for me to do was show up. When I showed up, I met organizations like Pathway to Kinship. I wasn't met with judgment. I wasn't met with contempt. Instead, I was met with love, compassion, and empathy. Today, I'm a licensed substance abuse counselor and a certified domestic violence facilitator. I use my experience of navigating the justice system and my struggles with addiction to help others by meeting them where they're at. Thank you guys.
At 16, I was facing a life sentence. I'm pretty sure you probably look at me and you're like, what? Like, how does this sweet-looking person? I eventually got convicted as an adult, and I currently, as a 41-year-old, still carry 2 strikes. And when I came home, there weren't any programs. There wasn't support for people like me. They literally handed me a manila folder. So it's really beautiful to see Pathway to Kinship. We need more Marks in this world, calling us to step out of our comfort and helping us unlock our potential to be great. So thank you.
I was sentenced to serve life in prison, and believe me, I deserved every bit of that sentence. 6 years into my sentence, my daughter wrote to Santa, and it said for one Christmas wish, she wanted her dad to get out of prison one day. And here I was, getting a write-up to stay on a higher security yard where I had a reputation. I started changing the culture on yards that I was in because Mark would show up. He says, where do I go from here? I started studying real estate and getting an education. And when I got out, I showed up to my transition house and they said, you know, you could probably be a dishwasher. Showed up to the parole office and he said, you know what? Think they're hiring dishwashers. I said, Mark, man, is this it? Am I gonna be a dishwasher? He just encouraged me. He said, remember your purpose, remember what you've been planning for. And I went out and I got a job with a commercial real estate developer. I walked into an interview with a stack of Prison 101s and said, look, I've never held a job before, but this is what people say about me. I gave him Mark as a reference of somebody who could attest to the character that I was in prison, you know, and he answered the call and he showed up. And that's the beauty of Pathway to Kinship. Thank you.
My name is Darwin Lee, and I spent 30 years in prison. I just was recently released on January 12th of this year. Mark, wow. There's amazing stories here. You know, I want to say to you guys have an amazing man here. You changed my life. Anytime I think of Pathway to Kinship, I think of amazing. And what a blessing he is to have you guys in his life, and what a blessing you guys have him in your life. He taught me about what it was to have empathy, which is placing yourself in the shoes of others. He taught me about having shame and regret for the things that you've done. He has also taught me about having accountability for the things that you've done in your life. And one more thing, he's taught me about amends, which is giving back and making direct amends to those that you've harmed, indirect amends, as well as living amends, which is the means of changing your life. So I'll say to each and every one of you in here that having Pathway to Kinship is a necessity in the prison system. And I encourage each and every one of you to be a part of this. Thank you.
There's a lot of people here who never had a break in their young lives. They wound up in the situation they were in and have done some things that I know they regret. But there's been redemption, there's been recovery. We need to help them with that. I'm proud to know you, Mark. Whatever I can do to help this wonderful, wonderful effort, thank you. And I want to thank you all for coming. Thank you, thank you.
Anybody who's interested in finding out what you can do to help, let me say this. Not only do we need your money, we need advice, we need people on our board of directors, we need additional expertise, and people who actually would like to help other people who are coming home and need help making that next step in the funnel to making a good life. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Dig deep.
Pathway to Kinship offered classes that I wanted to take and had no idea of what I was going to get out of them. But I gained so much, and I began to evolve and grow.
Mark was a boots on the ground kind of guy who came into the prison. You knew that he was going to be there every 2 weeks to run his workshop.
I'm a big fan of Mark just because of how much support that he's given my family.
He's so dedicated, and he's passionate about what he does, and he cares about, all of us,
I mean, he's meant the world to me, and I mean, I just...
Whatever Mark needs of me, I'm willing to be there, and I encourage each and every person to push his Pathway to Kinship program.
We're talking about people who are locked up since they were teenagers. Now look, I'm not making apologies for the crimes they committed, but the crimes they committed were 20 plus years ago. They've done their time. They've earned a second chance and a truly fresh start. Help us help them. They need jobs. They need training, and they definitely need a place to live. So help us help them. Thank you.